This is the story of a girl and the man who raises her. As she grows up, she is taught the value of hard work, friendship, and responsibility.
All while dealing with a secret government organization, individuals who wield incredible power, and a world which threatens to expand and consume our own.
So let's get started.
鏡よ鏡私世界を変えたいの
Hello, I'm Jacob Chimera, and welcome to the anime Lookback at Spring 2017. Alice in Zouroku was one of my favorite anime of this season. Not only is it a great combination of action, comedy, and heartwarming moments, but it's bold enough to make one of the main characters an older man, in a genre that tends to focus very heavily on groups of teenagers and nothing else. The story begins as a little girl with blonde hair escapes a research facility. The girl, Sana, manages to get away from her captors, but only just barely. Once arriving in the city, she causes an uproar with her strange powers, and as a result is sternly lectured by an elderly man named Zouroku. Realizing she has no place to go, Zouroku brings Sana to his house to be looked after by his granddaughter Sane and himself until the police can make other arrangements. It is revealed that Sana is not a human, but in fact an entity that emerged from a pocket dimension referred to as Wonderland. It seems that this pocket dimension is also the source of strange powers called Dreams of Alice, which, similar to Sana's ability to conjure whatever she wants, gives the user the power to manifest whatever it is they desire most. Zouroku and Sane don't care that Sana isn't really human and decide to adopt the little girl and give her a proper upbringing. Over the course of the show, Sana learns what it means to be human, as well as all the hardships and joys that come with it. It's quite obvious that this contains a lot of references to Lewis Carroll's classic children's story, Alice in Wonderland. Now, I wasn't too sure about this to begin with. You see, I've often made the joke that if you want to write a story and make it seem more artsy than it actually is, you just need to reference one of 4 stories. Alice in Wonderland, Moby Dick, Dante's Inferno, or Journey to the West. These are all stories that we get references from and we know are smart books, but very few of us have actually read them all the way through. Most books, movies, and television shows like to use these references without drawing any actual connection to the source material's themes. However, Alice in Zouroku does this quite well. The original Alice in Wonderland is about how absurd, crazy, and difficult growing up can feel. The main focus of the show is on Sana becoming more human. She has difficulty coming to terms with emotions, often saying she feels frazzled when things are confusing, upsetting, or uncomfortable for her. She learns to think about people other than herself, about the give and take of friendship, about sympathizing with others even when it's difficult, about doing hard work when it's required and not just taking the easy way out. This is all part of growing up for any individual. In the original classic, Wonderland symbolizes the infinite possibilities and shifting chaos of youth. Likewise, Wonderland in Alice in Zouroku is a perfect mirror for this concept, even changing to reflect Sana's emotional state. It's refreshing to see an author who understands the literary significance of a work and integrates elements from that source while still telling an original story, as opposed to others who simply steal names and imagery from that work, expecting that to be enough. Also, props to this story for actually explaining what its mysterious otherworld is, while still keeping elements of it vague enough to keep the mystery alive. The characters are fantastic. I adore so many of them. And the best part is that with only a few exceptions, I find the characters to be refreshingly human. By which I mean their portrayal, behavior, and motivations are realistic. Now, there is some over-the-top anime stuff as to be expected, but for the most part, I never found myself questioning their actions, often feeling that I would behave exactly the same if I were in their position. Sana is a realistic little girl character, Most anime like to throw a little girl character into the mix just because it's a popular trope. I'm looking at you, Clockwork Planet. These characters often exist as an extreme on one end of a spectrum, either being super bratty tsunderes or all cutesy and sweet no matter what. Sana actually behaves like a little girl. She's fairly egocentric like most young children, but at the same time she genuinely cares for her friends and family. The excitement you can see on her face and hear in her voice reflects that of a child experiencing new things for the first time. Her intense desire to help, both out of compassion and a desire for attention, is absolutely adorable. On the flip side, we have Zouroku, the perfect foil for Sana. I absolutely love the way he dishes out lectures to these girls with absurd powers. He's so concerned with making sure people see the error of their ways and throwing his wisdom at them, he doesn't even care about any of that supernatural crap. Even if Zouroku is grumpy, he still cares deeply for others. Also, it's perfect that he's a florist. Sana is a little girl who can make anything she wants instantaneously, while Zouroku is an old man whose craft requires hard work and patience. By acting as her guardian, Zouroku can not only tell her how to live a proper life, but lead by example. You can clearly see the impact of his actions on Sana's behavior and personality as the show progresses. Some of the best episodes are dedicated entirely to examining these changes. The supporting cast shines as well. Characters like Sane and Noriko offer a bit of goofy levity for the darker moments of the show, but they can still be serious when they need to be. Ryu is interesting because even though he clearly knows more than he lets on, he often plays the buffoon. Shizuku is another good role model for Sana, both as someone who uses her powers responsibly and as an actual teacher. Finally, the two characters that are introduced later in the show, Hattori and Hayumi, I don't want to say a lot about them because I don't want to give anything away, but let's just say they have interesting character arcs that are well integrated into the story. The twins are fun characters. They serve as decent villains for the first portion of the show, and once their backstory is revealed, they easily make the transition to being friendly. Many anime have a bit of an awkward transition from characters going from the villain to the ally, but it made a lot of sense in this show, especially because the twins had already been something approximating friends with Sana. Also, Tweedledee and Tweedledum much. Tachibana Miram, or Minnie C as she has everyone call her, is a great villain for the first part of the show. She's unsettling, intimidating, and her power manifesting nothing but big hairy arms is super creepy. Once you learn Minnie C's backstory, you can understand her actions, but her brutality keeps her plenty scary to the end. Now, as much as I love this show, I do need to critique a few things. It would be unfair for me to give this show nothing but praise when there are a couple things that could be done better. Besides, no one could ever improve their work if they weren't offered some constructive criticism. The kid with the sketchbook, Cleo, didn't have anything outside of a couple of appearances. He never had his backstory explained or really contributed to the plot. All he did to fight against Sana was draw a bridge and a door. I also wish that Shizuku could have had more backstory to her power. Most of the dreams of Alice have some twisted past associated with their ability, but she just fell asleep in front of a TV playing an old anime. Also, this product placement was unexpected and odd, especially since it's the only one in the whole show. What? Of course I have to talk about the CG. I realize I bring this up every time it appears in an anime, and I know that CG is easier and more practical to use in certain situations. But still, it could have been blended a lot better than this. Though, I don't mind it too much here, because the good writing more than makes up for a little bit of bad animation. This is a fantastic anime, and one that I thoroughly enjoyed watching. There's a little bit of everything in it. Deep, heartfelt family moments, action, examination of some very interesting characters, and even a dash of comedy. With so many elements, just about anyone can watch this show and find something that they like. Whenever I was watching the terrible anime this season, just slogging through it, I always took comfort in the fact that I knew there would be an episode of Alice and Zouroku waiting for me. This very well might be my number one pick for spring 2017.